Alright, welcome back everybody. Found our new campsite here. I see a keep off in the distance. I want to go claim that for my own. Won't be quite as good as Skyhold, but nice home away from home. With at least most of the amenities. Definitely a upgrade from a regular camp. I believe the keep will give us a merchant and benches where we can, craft gear, upgrade potions, all that good stuff. And mainly it's there and I want it. So I'm going to go get it. I found this over here. Now, there's this landmark, which I could have easily missed. I'm just south of Griffonwing Keep, by the way. It's a set of ladders that are here for apparently no reason. But there's not only that landmark, but there's also a mosaic piece down here, too, so... Here you have it. If this place doesn't look familiar and you're missing a mosaic piece, or the Archdemon set, then, odds are this is where it's at. Anyway, it's just an overlook point, looking down there in Little Canyon. Don't ask me. Anyway. It's getting out of here. There's the keep off in the distance, so I'm going to go investigate that here shortly. Get these rifts and other nuisances out of the way first. And of course we got a rift. At least they have a timed pattern in their little fireballs. That's crazy. All these shades and everything else, and that one wraith is the biggest threat. Shade Torch is getting on Vivian's ass. Hey. Stop that. Actually, I believe in those little spawn points, if you lock in, it'll let you know what's about to spawn there. Seems like that's the case. For some reason, I'm not getting health drain. My rampage there. Is it because they're demons? Let me look into that. Must have gotten one of the rifts particular to that campsite out of the way already. It just gave me credit for closing all of them. It seems to be a general rule of thumb that in the Western approach, you can basically just run in one direction and just hold your right trigger down and just keep swinging your sword and you're going to hit an enemy. Because it's been essentially non-stop since I've been here. Pretty much. Another landmark spot. Now along here by these poisoned area, there's going to be quest markers. We can assign the Inquisition to come in and build some bridges so we can get across that stuff. In fact, there's a key area specifically with an Astrarium. I think you can see it on the top of that hill over there to the right. It's the only way to reach that. There's an Astrarium there and some other stuff. Yeah, these question marks. I believe that's it. first, I want to go claim this keep for my own. Just a little tip. This keep, if you get it claimed earlier than later, which I've just been kind of just running around doing my thing, but you could essentially, as soon as you get to this area, make a beeline for it, and what it's going to do is it's going to spawn a new enemy in the area, and that will essentially raise basically the amount of XP you can get in this area, because it'll spawn more enemies earlier. Lots of dark spawn. Don't know why claiming the keep triggers that. Sure it has something to do with the story, but anyway, just a little FYI. Another camp over here. I assume there will be a codex in here of some sort, giving us a little more insight into the Vinatori's plans in this area. Like I say, from what I've seen so far, it all really leads to the Draon area. And I don't think I'm heading there next, but I'll head there the area after next. I want to go check out Crestwood. I want to go investigate what's going on with the warden friend of my Hawk champion. I really want to do that. So, strange, no codex here. Usually you'll find that must be just a random spawn. Anyway, I really like to go get that done, and then after that we'll head to the Impri and see what's all going on there with the Templars and Vinatori and whatever they're doing. I had a really long discussion with one of the viewers. We were talking about the relation between Loghain's actions and origins, and the actions of all the powers that be in Inquisition not being too far removed. And here was the parallel that I found. Is Loghain, all right, in Origins, he wasn't just out to claim the throne, okay? He was out to seriously 100% completely destroy Ferelden. Now, he supposedly was this hero who couldn't stand seeing what Orlais was doing to his Ferelden and had fought so valiantly, blah, 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 getting rid of the Orlesians. But then the first thing he does in his treachery to obtain power is try to completely destroy Ferelden completely, all right? At what point his mind became so poisoned that he was essentially doing the will and bidding of the Darkspawn. And I'll give you an example. He wanted to eliminate the Grey Wardens, okay? He didn't just want to cover up his treachery at Ostagar. He wanted to do away with the Grey Wardens completely. They're the only ones capable of killing an archdemon. They're the only ones that can do it. You find out exactly why at the end of the game. Okay, he was in complete knowledge of this. And he chose to try to exterminate them completely. Alright, so that's more than just him trying to cover up his guilty conscience because he's a piece of shit. It goes beyond that. He was trying to destroy Ferelden from inside. And I'll take that a step further, and I'll point out his actions with, what was that guy's name? The, Uldred in the Circle Tower. Okay, Uldred was a blood mage who he had specifically hired to go in and undermine the tower and essentially destroy the tower from within. That big uprising that happened, Uldred was given a signal, essentially, and he started all that crap at the Circle Tower about the time of Ostagar. All right, so he was going to undermine that part of Ferelden's defenses. The mages who would come in, and they would, of course, they're one of the key treaties that the Wardens had as allies to defend against the Blight. All right, and basically anything else. You know, the powers of magic can be used to defend. All right, and Loghain, knowing this, he tried to destroy the mages from within. Okay, and then you can just go on down the line with him harassing and murdering villagers and refugees. They would get away from the Darkspawn just to run into Loghain's thugs and get raped and killed and slaughtered, man, woman, and child, and so on and so forth. Right, besides the assassins that he had out after the Grey Wardens, he had random thugs and mercenaries hired to cause problems wherever they went. all over the place on the roads and villages and things like that. And then of course him sending Earl Rendon Howe, whatever he had offered Howe, right? Whatever deal was made behind closed doors, the bottom line was the reinforcements for the troops at Ostagar were to be basically, if you play the human origin, all right, the human noble, that is your family that is going to go offer reserves support to the troops at Ostagar. Okay, so what does Loghain do? He has Rendon Howe maybe promising him, you know, the ban or whatever that was gonna belong to your old family. Whatever he offered him, it doesn't matter. The bottom line was he had all the reserve troops for Ostagar assassinated before they could even get to Ostagar. All right, so this was planned well ahead of time. He had set all these things in motions beforehand. This wasn't just some decision he made in the heat of battle at Ostagar. This is treachery and treason and something to do with destroying. So he didn't love Ferelden in any way, shape, or form. He hated Ferelden. He was trying to destroy it in every way, shape, and form by all of his actions and deeds well before Ostagar even took place. He had all these things set in motion, all right? And that's looking at what happened, historical facts. That's not opinion. That's not emotional attachment. That's not, oh, well, I used to like Loghain, I can't accept these truths. That's all that set aside. This complete, non-biased, absolute scientific view of all of his actions, and what they were all specifically geared towards was destroying Ferelden from within so that the Darkspawn would have no resistance coming into the land. No different than what the Elder One is essentially doing here. All of a sudden, this rebellion with the mages spurs up. All of a sudden, this horrible crap with the Red Lyrium, and we know the Elder One has some link to all that kind of stuff, right? All of a sudden, this happens to undermine the Templars, all right? And, of course, with the Rifts and bandits and the Vinatori coming in to disrupt any of Ferelden's forces, right? Still just trying to recover from the Blight, you know, from the story of Origins, right? They're really in no shape to put up any organized resistance anyway to anything resembling a Blight or some kind of takeover, whatever you want to call this. The Elder One is apparently in control of something that resembles an Archdemon, and you see Darkspawn coming up, and you'll even hear comments being made. What are Darkspawn doing here? They don't roam around on the surface unless there's a Blight. All right, so this is something resembling that. In fact, this would tie the Elder One and the events here to previous Blights, you know, as far as the cause and the motivating factor behind what starts that. Anyway, you know, the old gods being involved, and that's where I get a little vague on, you know, complete lore and specifically pinpointing this and that and blah, 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 but just making connections here. But anyway, so I say, you know, Loghain's actions then and what the Elder One is doing here have a lot of parallels, a lot of similarity in their purpose and results, the effect that they're having, if that makes sense, all right? To basically disrupt and destroy all the defenses from within, so all the gates are open and the walls are down when you just come storming through, you know. And so I see a lot of similarities there. So I wonder just exactly who or what was in complete control of Loghain's mind well before the events of Origin, well before the Blight, you know, officially really gets underway and the Darkspawn start, you know, coming through the land. They would have not had such an easy walk of it. If you remember in Origins, each step you make in the game, each main story mission that you complete, you see the dark fog where the poison of the Blight has overtaken the land. It grows and grows until where it almost consumes all of Ferelden. You know, of course, then you have the end game, and you know, you save the world and all that good stuff. You know, of course, any RPG would have you do that. But you just notice there's like this progress being made. The Darkspawn basically were unhindered coming through the land. There was no mages there organized to put up any real defense. Of course, the Templar Order, it was in shambles. In their response to the mages and whatever had happened in the tower. And although I don't, it's strange that one circle tower and that one order of the Templars there was essentially the unifying force of those two groups there, because it seems like everything went into disarray everywhere else because of that. Of course, you had the apostates running around killing everything that moves, finding some emo excuse to do so, like they always do, right? And all that, and then and throwing mercenaries and bandits and everything else, and the land was in no no condition whatsoever to put up any kind of real defense against this horde of Darkspawn, just walking through unchecked, essentially. Well, that was by design, and Loghain was the 99% of why all that came to pass so easily. He basically had destroyed Ferelden from within. And we see the Elder One. Well, the Elder One, his thing also seems to be, and we noticed because the Envy Demon had this huge hate thing with the Empress of Orlais, that it's not just Ferelden, that it's really the Orlesians that need to be swept aside so that all of Orlais and Ferelden can be essentially taken. And it's even mentioned that Orlais is our primary defense from the threat of, you know, the Tevinters, you know, the Vinatori or whatever, and the Elder One just storming on through, that they were essentially our buffer. All right, so if the Elder One can get the Empress out of the way, then he's, you know, going to have an easy time to basically walk through the land. Because like we say, Ferelden hasn't even truly recovered from the blight and the events of Origins. Then, of course, things that were further weakened with the events in Dragon Age 2. And Anders, working at the behest of, I'm just going to call it a demon, whatever they want to call it, whatever the lore wants to title it or whatever. Bottom line is I saw what he did. The reasons are irrelevant. There's no justifying murdering millions of people. There's just no justifying it. You can come up with all kinds of psychological bullshit, but that doesn't change the fact that there's a bunch of people that are dead that shouldn't be because of the actions of this one asshole, right? And at the behest of this spirit that was controlling him, whatever. Okay, this spirit of vengeance that just wanted to kill all kinds of innocent people because he couldn't control himself, or whatever the case may be. Okay, so once again, you have not just, all right, Ferelden destroyed from within in Origins, but now you have farther-reaching effects in Dragon Age 2, and that's where you introduce this Corypheus guy, right? Is in Dragon Age 2, especially with the DLC, right? Thrown in there on purpose, obviously. And so you go on and you see that the defenses are essentially brought down even further, all right, stretching out past Ferelden, all right? And now here, I think we'll find, we're already seeing hints of it, that there's this plot, you know, Josephine brings it up, and we're going to go deal with that. I'm sure it's a main part, it's a big part of the main story. But there's this plot to assassinate the Empress and all this, and it's treason and treachery and civil war from within. And so I see this pattern, once again, of his hand at work. So was Corypheus or another old god or something else or some force that is above Corypheus that's still hidden in the background that would be revealed later on in some future Dragon Age or something behind all this, you know, having the same MO, the same method of operation here in the way he works to disrupt the land prior to coming in and trying to take it over. And essentially destroy the world so he can, I don't know, conquer heaven or something, some weird stuff. Anyway. Oh, sweet. We got a Amulet of Power for Dorian. Seems like anytime Tevinters or Vinatori are involved, that's where his amulets pop up. But, anyway, just kind of throwing... That's just food for the mill of thought, you know, just something to think on. Putting things in a new light. It's easier to look back. You know, hindsight's always 20/20, right? We can look back and we can see, you know, wow, there's really something to this. A lot more than what meets the eye. And from Mass Effect, I can say that they reveal a lot of stuff that we saw in the beginning towards the end. In other words, later on, in looking back, you see how much significance certain seemingly little things, right? Just little hints, a few words said here and there, a little event that happens in a certain way, something that's mentioned, a certain item that's revealed at a certain point in time, which later on bears major significance to the story, but at the time seems either inconsequential or you don't see its relevance, right? And then later on you're like, oh wow, like, you know, the broken beacon, you know, in Mass Effect 1. Well, that's like, you know, this big deal throughout the rest of the game, and becomes more and more clear the significance of that, and so on and so forth. So in this, I could see the same type of thing developing as you know, it's kind of like an onion that reveals its layers as you get towards the heart of it, and you're like, oh wow, okay, that's cool. So that's what that meant, or that's why that happened, or Or what's up with this? You know, things take on a whole new light. I'm amazed by all that. It gives a lot to think on, you know, and wonder about in the game. So Griffonwing offers us this Strain puzzle, and then going to get all the amenities of this keep once we claim it for our own. Still have one more of these, but we're going to need to unlock the bridges and so on and so forth. So I'll do a few more random things right here in this area so I can hopefully get back to the war table, which is where I essentially have to activate all this stuff. Assign the troops to build the bridges and things. Try to get back there and sort of do everything at once. I try to knock out as many birds as I can with one stone, so to speak. I play RPGs, especially if I'm semi-familiar with what I'm going to have to do, you know. I can go, you know, kind of set up a bunch of things so that when I get to one area I can accomplish a few things at once. It's an old habit from, you know, Fallout and Elder Scrolls days. All right, and this is our new keep. This is Inquisition territory now. Flag flying and everything.
Inquisitor, you're early. We've barely been set up a week. I have a patrol out at the moment. Some of them.
Oops, that's what you get trying to speed up conversation and bring the dialogue up. That's funny.
What's wrong with them? The fort's well is full of garbage. Blasted Vinatori threw corpses in there. There's an oasis nearby, but a Vargast claimed it. Doing a decent job of keeping us away, too. 4 soldiers have already fallen to venom and claws. We'll need reinforcements to drive the monster out.
What can you tell me about the Darkspawn in the area?
The Darkspawn seem to have emerged since we took the keep. I've warned the troops not to engage unless absolutely necessary. We don't need a blight in the ranks. We have to find whatever hole the monsters came from and seal it.
Report, Captain. What's the situation in the western approach?
I've had scouts investigate that red lyrium operation you smashed. I don't think anyone's getting into that cave anytime soon.
We haven't met, have we? What's your name, soldier? Where have you served?
I beg your pardon, Inquisitor. Knight Captain Rylan at your service. I served with the Templars in Starkhaven until they all ran off to the hills, barking at the moon. Commander Cullen offered me a job, and I was glad to do anything to help stop all this madness.
What's your duties here, Captain?
I am Commander Cullen's second-in-command. As such, I handle logistics for many of our more high-risk missions. I also coordinate reports for the Commander from agents out in the field.
If you were in Starkhaven, how do you know Cullen?
After Kirkwall exploded, Starkhaven sent aid. Rubble fell on much of the city. A lot of people were homeless or trapped in collapsed buildings. I coordinated rescue efforts, and met Cullen while he was trying to command what was left of Kirkwall's Templars.
You didn't want to leave the
Real
Chantry?
work now and then. If the barracks are on fire, I'm going for water, not standing around smiting the ash for heresy. Ah, respectfully speaking, of course, Inquisitor.
Sorry about that. The clip ended.
How is the Inquisition treating you so far, Captain?
It's good work. Some of it's a touch batty, but I'm always glad to be doing something useful, Inquisitor. There's no shortage of things that need repaired, shored up, or just a good bucket of water dumped on them.
Carry on, Captain.
Yes, Inquisitor.
All right. Our new keep. Not a whole lot to be found. I believe there's a shard here somewhere, but I need to go find this other ocularum to reveal it or locate it. Anyway, so now that we have the fort unlocked, the keep, or whatever you want to call that place, it should open up, or should start spawning a lot of darkspawn. And I think it's continual respawns. I mean, I believe they're essentially farmable. That's what you want to call it. Right, see? Get over here, and then we'll go to the war table. We can assign them to do this.
Turn back.
The Darkspawn got through. I'll have to see what our people at Skyhold can do.
These guys here, these phoenixes aren't so bad, actually. Do offer some pretty good amount of crafting material too. We really have to remember to turn these animal parts into the research table. I always forget to do that. One thing I didn't notice here at Griffonwing was a research table. It'd kind of be nice if there was one. I guess I have to go to Skyhold for that specifically. And there we go. Darkspawn. Like anyone else, it's the friggin' archers that are the worst, but the Darkspawn archers have the health of, I don't know, a high dragon. And they can essentially two-shot you. Their arrows.
Shouldn't be roaming about on the surface when there's no blight.
Yeah, see, Vivian even says that they shouldn't be here if there's no blight. So there's something akin to a blight going on here. Be interested to look back at all the blights. Like, okay, this one in Origins was the 5th blight, right? So I would like to look at the previous 4 blights and find the, what would you call the social, political, and military atmosphere prior to that blight, and see if there isn't a distinct pattern of behavior amongst the nobles, the powers that be, the military leaders, the emperors, kings, whatever you want to call them all. The head enchanters at the circles, the Lord Seekers, or if that's not a group that was around, then the Chief Templars. Anyway, whatever depending on the particular blights, the powers that be that were the heads of the relevant groups at the time, whatever that may be. I would like to see exactly how they were acting, and if it wasn't the case in each one that the civil unrest and political unrest and religious unrest and whatever that might have been taking place prior to the blight, if it isn't all similar, if not identical. These guys right here, jeez, look at this, and they can build guards so quick. Every, I don't know, 3rd or so series of attacks allows them to build an entire new health bar. If they have something similar to the special abilities that Cassandra has. Vivian doing her job. Fully restoring everybody. I'll let her just do that whenever she's ready. I think one key element to this build is going to be getting everybody a belt of focus. I did find enhanced belts of focus there at the merchant. Like the Griffonwing keep. Thinking about getting everybody one of those. I'm getting sick of this dude. No, I'm not getting any health back from this. Is it only from... Did I misread that? I'm going to go back and look at that. Take a good strong look at that. Because I thought with the Rampage ability that each swing was to regenerate health. Maybe it's only at a certain level or something? I don't know. This is becoming a boss battle. Seriously. Oh yeah, and then he gets the hidden bar of health. Now this health's gone, he gets an extra 1,000,000 hit points to live for another hour. There we go. Thank you. Appreciate that. We'll see you, dude. You were worth a little more than 19 gold, in my opinion.
It's no use. We can't cross here.
Someone at Skyhold will have a solution.
Right, now that bridge, that leads to, I believe, like some mosaic pieces and some other, you know, collectible stuff. Maybe a landmark or two, that type of thing. I don't know that it leads to another quest of any kind, not that I'm aware of. But does lead to some collectible stuff that you wouldn't be able to get to otherwise. And I believe it's an entire second bridge that you need to have built, like a whole other war table thing. It costs like a few points of power or something, nothing that you can't get from just doing a few stupid requisitions or something. So, not a biggie. I've also noticed another pattern from the Darkspawn in Origins, and then in Dragon Age 2, and now in Inquisition. They're becoming more and more human-like, or normal-like. In other words, in Origins, they were very, very demonic. They were more like monsters, right? They hardly resembled their origins, you know? Like, you know, the Genlocks made from dwarves, and the Hurlocks made from humans, and so on and so forth, okay? Alright, so you get into Dragon Age 2, and our first introduction to Darkspawn in Dragon Age 2 is a little bit more human-like, which, I don't know, doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, because it was supposed to be directly linked to the Darkspawn we had in Origins. But still, they were much less monster-looking. More like, just say, skeletons than actual demons, so to speak. Alright, now here, you know, I'm not getting too much of an up-close, but by the way that they walk, their animations, and the way that they act, and so on and so forth, they're even more, I guess, quote-unquote, normal. I don't know if there's anything to that. Maybe their proximity to Corypheus makes them seem more evolved, I guess, or something. I don't know. That could be a stretch, but it's just an observation. Alright. Anyway, some random stuff. Right, we'll go get those bridges built. Go ahead to Skyhold and all that good stuff. Get this underway so we can get through here and get to our dragon. Alright, thanks for watching. Y'all take care, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.